I'm almost scared to say this because I feel like a few people might be turned off. But in another lifetime, I'm
Pretty much.
like, I'm sure this guy, I don't know what it is, because like, if you get to know Nirvan, he physically can't move more than one joint at the same time. So it's like to be the person who you are. I'm getting deep out here, bro.
That's a very deep question,
Didn't expect this, bro.
Yeah, that's
I dropped the bomb, bro. Everyone, welcome to today's episode. Meet the founders at Pathway Property. We got myself, Arshad Zacky, often known as Ashy Z, right? And we got Nirvan. Nirvan, maybe tell everyone, what do we call you? What's the nickname?
Well, my name's Nirvan. You can call me Nirvan, and that's about it. But
that
no
tells you a
real
little bit
nicknames.
about I think that's all you need to know
You
about
know,
us.
actually, funny thing, when I was in corporate law, these guys in my team, when I moved to Melbourne, in the real estate team, they start calling me Nerve.
Nerve.
It was pretty funny, but like I didn't really catch beyond just the workplace. But it was a pretty funny nickname. But I don't really use it. But if you want to use Nerve, you can.
Nah, it's a terrible nickname.
Yeah,
I think we'll let that one go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for today, for all those listening in, it's just a casual meet the founders. For all of you who've worked with us, planning to work with us, we love building really strong personal relationships with our clients. My philosophy is I want to have at least one meal with every client, because when you have a meal with someone, you build that connection, right? So it's like, and for us, every client is someone we want to have a connection with, someone we want to be personally invested in their story. So this is for everyone who's thinking about being our clients or who already is, just to know a little bit more about us, know what they're getting into working with. We love working with people who match with us. You know, people could watch this video and be like, I like these guys.
Yeah.
They got a good energy, stuff like that. So that's what we're here to do today. Not going to be heaps of insights into the market, and maybe a little bit, but nothing crazy.
Might
but
throw a few nuggets out there, but
one or two, just one or two, right? So if you want a few nuggets, maybe stay for the video, but mostly just going to be vibes, right? So
pretty much.
Nirvan, tell us about yourself, the man, the myth, the legend.
I was born and raised in Germany, so I grew up in Germany. So obviously, I speak German. If there's any clients who want to talk to me in German, I do need a bit of practice. I'm getting a bit rusty. But born and raised in Germany. Actually, I was born in Stuttgart. We moved to Düsseldorf. I grew up in Mönchengladbach, and then
Mönchengladbach.
they're like the worst teams in the Bundesliga as well. Like they don't do really well. But anyway, it's always Bayern that's dominating. But anyway. Then when I was around 16, I moved to Australia. I studied, I went to do my Bachelor of Arts. I did law afterwards. So I did the JD at Melbourne Law School, got into corporate law. So my career started in big law, basically, at KWM. I was a graduate there, young professional out in the big world of corporate law in the top tier space. So that's sort of my journey up until we started Pathway Property together. In terms of my personal life, I just like hitting the gym, getting a good meal with Ashy Z. He loves. I think he's introduced me to at least 50 different cuisines.
True. Before, I'm almost scared to say this because I feel like a few people might be turned off. But before I introed Nirvan to sushi, he was like, bro, I can't eat sushi. I can't do this. It's raw fish.
It's just because...
And then one day I took him. I was like, bro, let's go to a nice place. You know what I mean? And then after that, every day he's like, bro, when's our next sushi session? When's our next sushi session? I'm like, give it a rest, right? But definitely.
I just think it's because I had like a few bad sushi experiences when I was a bit younger. So I think... and like the general idea of like a raw food was a bit strange for me when I grew up. I was like an ethnic household. My dad always...
Bro, when you eat from Germany, bro, they eat everything raw.
Yeah, I know, but raw like
beef, raw
my
pork.
dad, anytime like we went to a steakhouse or something, this guy's like ordering well done steaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
a crime. To me, that's like a well done steak is a certified crime. Should not be allowed. If I owned a restaurant and someone ordered a well-done steak, I'd just be like, sorry, order something else on the menu.
Pretty much.
Not happening.
Pretty much. So if you want a culinary experience, you can go and get an appointment with Ashy Z. and show you around Melbourne.
For sure,
Some of
for
the
sure. Like
food spots.
in another lifetime, I'm a food influencer.
Pretty much.
Like I'm sure there's an alternate universe out there where I'm right now making a video with a strawberry matcha latte with pistachio
That's
foam
too
on.
trendy for you, man.
Yeah, it is a too trendy. I'm probably at like a random underground restaurant,
Yeah, I
having the skewers, just like vibing, just vibing. But
Love that.
100%, I do. I mean, it's not hard to tell from. I mean, this shirt is very very flattering, but it's not hard to tell that I'm a man who loves his cuisine.
That's all right, bro. That's all right.
Nice. Tell us a little bit more, bro. I'm sure there must be more to know
Yeah,
about
definitely.
you.
Look, as I said, I love hitting the gym. We played a lot of squash together. Look, a lot of this conversation is going to be. I know Arshad for how long do we know each other? Almost 10 years or something, right? So a lot of the conversation is going to be basically what we're both interested in. So obviously, hitting the gym, going to hit a squash sesh with Arshad. Maybe we can talk about my squash form later on.
Yeah. Not later on.
The evolution of the squash form.
This guy, I don't know what it is, because like, if you get to know Nirvan, he's musically very gifted, right? He's got extreme rhythm when it comes to like, how many, 4 or 5 instruments you play? Play like a few instruments, right? Like oud, drums.
Amateur, but
no, but bro, I'm humble amateur, right? But very rhythmic. But when it comes to sport, he physically can't move more than one joint at the same time. So it's like he's playing squash. He's like a robot, basically.
Well, I'm good at it now. But I remember like when we started playing, at no, don't get riled up, bro. When we started playing at uni, I do remember like I was like kind of moving like a robot. Or even to this day, like I think it takes me a little bit more time to get a bit more fluid. But I guess that's like a bit of my personality there as well.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, that's your, I guess, a little bit about you.
Yeah.
And like just what life looks like at a base level.
Yeah.
What motivates you? Like, what's your primary driver?
Yeah, look, man, honestly, and obviously you know me personally as well. I think one of the things, like I was in corporate law, obviously. I practiced in that space for a while. We were doing deals that were very, very interesting, deals that like shape our capital cities. I was obviously in the real estate team there as a commercial real estate lawyer, working on deals that are like billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. The one thing that sort of was missing for me was that like personal connection to people I know, the networks I have, the people I see on the ground, like the everyday people. And it was almost something like I would go to work on those transactions, which is fantastic. The experience was amazing. The team was fabulous as well. But it was like, it's just not relevant to anybody I know, right? I couldn't really help anybody I know. I couldn't really assist anyone with any sort of, in a meaningful way on legal matters. I could tell them like, think about this, think about that. But it was never like, okay, let's tackle this together. So one thing that really drove me to eventually like found Pathway Property with you and, jump on board from your existing success that you've had was just the appeal of being able to connect with people, everyday investors, people who just want to grow their wealth, people who want to build a legacy for their families, and engage in everyday conversations in a meaningful way. Like now when I go to with family barbecue, everyone's asking me questions about X, Y, and Z. What do you think about these areas? What do you think about these kinds of assets in these kinds of markets? So my work in my life has come a little bit more integrated, whereas before it was a bit more disjointed, right? So I think that's really the driving force for me. Like I want to be able to assist people and like be able to serve, people I care about, and by extension, people in that we help with at Pathway Property, for example, right? And I think, while you can do that in your, formal corporate careers and stuff like that, like you get a lot of exposure and experience in that space, but like having that relevance is something that I really care about personally. So that's pretty much it. And you know me as well, like, I was very much involved in community sort of organizations and activities back at uni. So that was always something important to me. And when I transitioned into that like full-time career space, that was like missing. So I was trying to like compensate for that by like engaging like diversity initiatives and extracurricular type stuff. But now like I feel very, very happy with where I am now because I've been able to integrate both worlds together. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Outside of like work motivation, just like at a more like fundamental core level, what are some of the things that like drive you just to be the person who you are?
Oh,
We're
man,
getting deep out here, aren't we?
that's a very deep
didn't,
question, man.
didn't expect this, bro.
Yeah, that's
I dropped the bomb, bro. Like,
look, I mean, I'm a father, I'm a husband. I do want to serve my family. I want to be there for them, and once you have children, obviously, like your perspective changes a lot. You want to leave a legacy. You want to build something that you can be proud of, and you can pass on to the next generation. And this is also why I love the line of work that we're in. Like, we literally want to guide people on their pathway to generational wealth through property investing, right? Obviously, property investing is just a tool that we're using here. So we're obviously experts in it, but it's what we're ultimately trying to achieve for our clients is, access to that legacy, access to that wealth, so they can live a comfortable life and be able to, be there for their families, go on holidays and enjoy time with their loved ones, which is honestly probably like in your last moments, that's the only thing you're going to care about.
Yeah, property is just the pathway.
Property is just the pathway.
It's not the destination.
It's not the destination.
Right? Like sometimes we get clients who are like really aggressive, and at the end of the day, it's up to the individual, right? What that balance of using cash flow to invest versus using it for lifestyle, right? Like I've seen very different. Like there's a spectrum, right? Like 100% lifestyle, 100% investment, right? And everyone's at a different point on that spectrum, right? But I've seen some people, they go so hard towards sacrificing lifestyle that, to me at least, I don't find that appealing. It's like there's such a strong short-term trade-off in terms of being able to do things, enjoy your life, take your family out, and just like have a better lifestyle. But it is a subjective question, right? Like I think, in all honesty, I probably lean a little bit too much towards the lifestyle perspective side
Uber
of things.
eats every night, eat out.
Like brunch every other day, omakase, then you get that Wagyu beef. It's like you're probably a little bit better than me, but I'd say we're probably both a little bit too. But maybe because we're younger, as time goes, hopefully push it and like find that balance, right? But I agree with that 100%.
All right, I think enough about me. You asked all the deep questions. I think we've got to flip it on to you for a second, right?
I'm not looking forward to that. I don't think I have as interesting or as much to say.
What do you mean?
But,
I'm going to dig deep.
I'll intonate in different ways, which will make it sound interesting, even though I'm not actually saying anything.
No, it is interesting, and I'm going to dig deep into all the things I know, so you can't hide anything, mate. Anyway, just tell us a little bit about yourself, like what's gotten you to the point that where you're at now. Where did you start your journey in the first place? So I think that's going to be an interesting one.
A long time ago. So I'm ethnically Sri Lankan, born and raised in Botswana, right? So for those who don't know, I remember when I first came here during university, I'd tell people I'm from Botswana. Right, and naturally I'm brown, right? I'm ethnically Sri Lankan, and like for people who are, not very intelligent geographically, they'd be like, "Oh, is that next to Pakistan or something?" I'm like, "Nah, definitely not next to Pakistan." But I can see where you're coming from. Botswana is it's not a small country from a land size perspective, but from population, it's quite small, just north of South Africa. So I was raised in a small town called Francistown. Population probably similar to the size of Bendigo. I think like an easy way to explain the size of the town to people here in Australia is that we didn't have a cinema, right? So there was no, which is tough for me because I'm like a hardcore movie watcher, but we didn't have a cinema in our town, right? So that's how, I guess it gives you an idea of how small it was, right? I remember we used to do in all honesty, it was kind of like fun because small town, you find creative ways to
entertain yourself.
To entertain yourself. So we used to go out fishing, hunting. We used to game a lot. I remember, so we used to like computer games, right? My friends used to bring, we used to literally carry like these huge PCs, walk like 1 kilometer and set it up to with the hub, and then like play Counter Strike, Call of Duty, all of these random games. Funny story, a bit of a tangent, but I guess that's
That's
what this
alright.
podcast
Yeah,
is
it
for.
is.
I remember one point, I think we were probably like 16, maybe 17, somewhere around there, maybe even older, right? Uh, and it's a meme, but like we literally made the meme come to life. My parents are like, you guys are gaming too much, you need to get out, right? So what we did is we took uh, over there we call it Bucky, over here you guys would call it Ute. We took the Ute, we went to like an outback safari area, right? But not like a formal safari, but like a outback area. Took a generator with us, took all of our computers, and we literally just went set up in the middle of nowhere, like literally places where there's like lions and other animals, and we just put on the generator and we
I
gave
really want to see. Do
we
you have
just-
a photo of that?
there must be a
You-
photo somewhere. So
Yeah,
it's just like
either pull out a photo, but I can see like an AI generated image
AI.
of,
So
of Arshad with his
yeah.
mates,
No, it was actually really fun because a bit next to this really
surrounded
nice
by the
next to this really
wilderness.
nice lake. The fire is happening at night because you need a fire at night.
Yeah.
If not, animals will just stop
Yeah,
to come.
exactly.
But honestly, probably the generator was so loud that the animals didn't come. So I had this generator on, 10 computers there, and we're just playing a game in the middle of nowhere. So technically, we were playing outside, but not in the way that people would
That's
usually
I think that's
peek our shit loopholes.
I think that's just Arshad, man.
Yeah.
Like that's like you maximize whatever tools you have at your disposal in the best way that you can. So I guess
Yeah.
with the restrictions that you were told,
No.
you made the most of it. So I think that's
Yeah.
pretty good summary of Arshad right there,
There
man.
you go. So born and raised in Francistown, honestly, a really great childhood. Like when I think about it, I feel like I'm quite privileged. I speak to a lot of other people, and stuff that people have gone through in their life. I'm like, holy crap, I've had life pretty easy, right? Which I'm really grateful to my parents, the people around me, and like God, all of that stuff. I've had a pretty easy life, all things considered, right? Came to Australia for university when I was 18, maybe 19, can't remember, back in 2015. Was at Melbourne Uni, did commerce. Didn't really go into the degree as much as I would have liked, but at that time I was working a lot, so I was working a decent amount for an education company. They taught exams like GAMSAT, UCAT, so on and so forth. I was in the growth and marketing team, helping scale that business, Frasers. Big part of my life, met a lot of my really close friends at Frasers. For those of you who don't know, Frasers Medical, Frasers GAMSAT, amazing organization. If you
Shout
ever-
out to
shout out,
Scotty.
Scotty Fraser, big person in my life. He's founder of Frasers, was like a life mentor, but one of my closest friends as well. Was there for a good, I think, 4 or 5 years. Really grew my career. I learnt a lot in there because I joined really early on when it was a small organization. By the time I was leaving, there was like 400 or 500 employees, thousands of students per year. It was huge, right? And beyond that, a couple of the founders went and founded an organization called Heidi Health. They're like super
Yeah, they've
famous
done
now.
really well.
AI. I don't even know if like an AI healthcare company is an
Actually,
accurate
funny.
description.
Funny anecdote there. I went to my doctor,
Yeah.
and it was a bit of a sensitive appointment with the GP. And then the first thing that he said is like, oh, by the way, just to let you know, we've got a new scripting software. It's called Heidi. And I'm like, oh my God, these guys are going to get access to all my secrets. Obviously not, but
Yeah.
that was a pretty anecdote there.
Yeah, no, it's funny. So like
They've done really well.
they've done really well. I think their valuation's more than $1 billion now. I'm not 100% sure,
Yeah.
but it's up
Getting
there,
there.
right? If it's not there, it will be there soon, right? So it was just so interesting to learn a lot of that stuff, right? And then, towards the end of my time at Frasers, I was thinking about, like, when I first got the opportunity at Frasers, it was a no-brainer to say yes, right? I was an international student. A lot of my friends were working at 7-Eleven, getting paid in cash, $7-8 an hour, fully like tough times. And I got this amazing opportunity with a really good pay, lots of room to grow, equity option, just like an amazing opportunity overall, right? But then towards the end of my period, I was like, why am I still here? Is this something I really want to do, right? And I started to think about, what do I want to do, right? And that's the point I started really looking at property personally, and then was working on that. But also at the same time, I was like, I really enjoy this as a business, and I was helping a few friends out, just giving them advice, direction. And that's when I was like, you know what, let me give this a go.
Yeah.
Those friends were like, bro, you know, you've given us really amazing insight, bought in the right markets, growth was really good. So pivoted into starting Zacky Property.
Yeah.
Right. That was
The precursor of Pathway Property.
the OG. Why did I call it Zacky Property? In all honesty, my philosophy was, I'm not wasting time thinking about the name, right? I was like, I knew when I started that I'm going to rebrand at some point to a way better name, which we have right now. Honestly, I love the name of our business now, Pathway Property. I think it's like leaving out what we do. I think it's one of the best named buyers agencies out there, right? There's a couple of others that I really like, but I think Pathway, when you look for a buyer's agent, you want someone who's holding your hand throughout the whole journey, your whole pathway, and that's what we do, right? But we'll come back to that later. Zacky Property was running that for a bit. You know, we're doing well, helping a lot of clients, starting to build a team. And then at that point, I was like, you know what? I want to take this to the next level, bring in people with that commercial expertise, worked on huge transactions at that much higher level. So I just hit my boy up and I was like, yo, drop that corporate lawyer stuff and get in the game, baby. Because I knew this guy is a businessman. You know, I've known this guy for 10 years, and I've known that, like, even during university, he has that businessman personality, right? And I was like,
whatever that means.
It's in him, you know what I mean? So I was like, it just made sense. And then the rest is history, and we'll talk about Pathway Property shortly. But that's a little bit about my trajectory. Other stuff about me, I love food, right? I think it's one of the best things in life, you know what I mean? Just eating different cuisines, taking your time.
Actually, maybe funny story there. So when we decided to work together, join forces, and take things to the next level and build Pathway Property, I think the moment was it was that day when we went to Mornington Peninsula Hot Springs.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, it's hot springs, like a really nicely curated hot springs experience in Melbourne.
That's another shout out. If you're in Melbourne, I think that's my favorite experience in Melbourne. If you're in Melbourne, the weather's good, it's slightly cold, go to the Mornington Peninsula Hot Springs. Exactly. Amazing experience. It's such a vibe.
It's just like, and we still do it. We still do it every couple of months.
I need to go in a month or so. Early April, I probably might head out.
Yeah, we might do that. Anyway, so that's where the journey started. We went to Peninsula Hot Springs, and we had a nice steak beforehand, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I think that tells you a lot.
MWC, bro, can't go wrong with the MWC. Get a ribeye. Why not? You know, there's I used to travel a lot with Scott, you know, for work. And whenever we'd go to Meat and Wine Co., we'd have steak for mains, ribs for dessert. We call it the Scotty and the Ashy, you know what I mean? So it's like meat fest for sure. But yeah, I love food. I've tried, I just love trying new cuisines. I mean, at this stage, I don't think any cuisine is new to me, because pretty much tried everything.
There'll be something, man.
Yeah, there must be like a Mongolian,
some Tibetan.
Yeah, there must be something niche, but different dishes, you know, I feel like it's not just food. I feel like even just sharing a plate with someone, it's such an intimate experience, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like eating with someone is that's why I love Ethiopian food, right? You know, it's like you're literally eating from the same plate, both with your hands. Like if you haven't had Ethiopian, definitely put that on your list. Go with a couple of people, get the big share plate, and you go in. And you really build that personal connection with people. For people who know me, I love socializing. I just love talking to people, getting to know about people. I'm a little bit of a nerd. You know, I'm like that guy who'll watch a TV show, and then maybe the TV show is 2 seasons, 20 hours, right? But then I'll end up watching 50 hours worth of YouTube videos, on theories
Analysis.
and analysis and what the deep underlying philosophical structure of the TV show is. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Other than that, I do love exercising, hitting the gym, stuff like that. I'm going through a bit of a injury period with the shoulder, so right now probably not as fit as I'd like to be, but hopefully on the mend, on the recovery, get fully optimized. You know what I'm saying? I want to
Time
have
to
that.
lock in, mate.
I just want to be like the REM sleep king. You know what I mean? Like you put the whoop on and you just see the REM sleep, the light sleep, the deep sleep. All the
Beautiful.
different forms of sleep. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I don't know.
Awesome.
Did I miss anything? You know me. You know me
I
pretty
think that's
well.
a good summary. I think it's a bit of a teaser, and whoever wants to learn a little bit more, just
Yeah,
gotta
if
catch
you
up
want to
with
learn a bit
Ashizzy.
more, I'm always happy to catch up over a meal. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
That's always looking for an excuse to eat something new.
Why don't we talk a little bit about how we do things at Pathway Property and what we each our responsibilities are, right?
For sure, yeah.
So
So Pathway Property, I think it's a nice transition. Hopefully
yeah,
people know a little bit about us. I think, to summarize our difference and why we meld really well together, it's literally the way we're dressed, right? I'm like the casual floral t-shirt, like get things moving, think about things. Then Nirvan comes in as that additional layer of high-level due diligence, formality, so on and so forth, right?
it's a good
It's
combo.
like best of both worlds,
That's
right?
it.
Pathway Property. So Nirvan, tell us what's the name of your role before we even get into it. Like, what is your role at Pathway Property?
Well, my role at Pathway Property is I'm the head of acquisitions, so I lead the acquisitions team at Pathway Property. So the acquisitions team basically takes care of acquisitions. That means we source deals, right, through our sourcing team, and that's probably one of our really, really strong points at the business. We source like more than 200 off markets per week, right? So
On a light week, bro. 200
on
is
a
like
light
week.
week.
If I see 200, I'm like, what's
Yeah.
happening?
Every,
You know what I
actually,
mean?
every week we're
Yeah.
getting a new record with
It's
our
like-
new sourcing person.
Yeah.
And I told him every time you break the record, that's the new standard.
Yeah.
So
It's like, what's that scene from The Wolf of Wall Street? Gotta pump those numbers up.
something like that.
You gotta keep the numbers up.
But anyway, so we take care of sourcing. So obviously on market, off market sourcing. And for those who don't know what off market sourcing is, it's basically properties or property opportunities that do not see the light of day, basically, right? So they get sent to us through exclusive relationships, and and that's across Australia as well. And we transact a lot of them. A lot of them we don't. Obviously, we need to. We can't take every off market. Not every deal is a good deal. But when there's a really good deal, we snap them up, and no one has even heard of that property being sold, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of our strong points. Then from the sourcing point onwards, it's I take care of the due diligence team as well. So they run through all the analysis, property analysis, the types of things you need to look for. For the residential space, it's probably quite simple. It's not the most groundbreaking sort of something that requires some sort of secret sauce when you're doing due diligence, but you need to know what to look for, right? A lot of information is publicly available, but to interpret that information and to understand what impact it has on your property, on your investment, on the insurance outcomes, on the rent that you're going to receive, the sale down the track, all of that needs to be taken into account when you're looking at residential investment due diligence, right? Obviously, my professional background is as a commercial real estate lawyer. So, like in terms of the commercial real estate due diligence process, that's like my expertise. And that's way more complicated, right? You need to look at way more factors like due diligence on the tenants, on the clauses in the contract that you're working with, etc., right? So there's a lot more involved. That's due diligence. Next is the in-depth deal analysis and presentation process. So that's taken care of by my team. And then ultimately, once we get to the settlement stage and once a client is happy with the deal and we proceed with it, our team also takes care of the settlement process and all the post-settlement matters. So like, connecting the client with property managers, connecting the client with relevant professionals that can help them manage their investment and also get the best results for them after we've signed the contract, after we've settled the property. And yeah, that's basically a nutshell of the team that I manage at Pathway Property.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's like when it comes to like our deal acquisition team, right? It's just like, I think like one of the things we agreed on was like get people that are like charisma buffed,
Basically.
right? Because it's like there's the way you get these off markets, right? It's through relationships,
Exactly.
right? And there's a few different ways to get these people to like you, right? Number one is you do deals with them, right? The more deals you do with an agent and the more smoothly it goes, the more they're gonna like you,
Yeah.
right? Number one. Number two is after you get the deal done, you entertain them a bit, let's go out for dinner, send them a little gift, vibe,
Exactly.
right? And then number three is just having really likable personalities, right? People who, they make you feel special, right? And that's how we've hired, right? We've hired our sourcing department to be people who the agents, when they connect with them, they're like, I really like this guy. He's come, he's met me, we've caught up for coffee. I know he's really serious, but I also just really like him as a person.
Yeah.
Because we connected, so on and so forth.
Honestly,
Right?
it's kind of crazy. Like sometimes I like eavesdrop over the conversations that the sourcing team has with the agents, and I'm like, this guy just met this person for like last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking like they've been friends for a very long time. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like that was at the front and center for us, like in terms
Yeah.
of we need to hire people who have that charisma, who've got that ability to connect with people.
Yeah.
And it's it really shows in the results that we have.
Exactly. It's not
And it helps really in the negotiation. Honestly, the key advantage you get is you get access to the deals. You get an advantage when it comes to negotiation. As they say in back in law, they always said, charm disarms.
Yeah.
Like you need to always be prepared and firm with your negotiation. But ultimately, if you know the person, it creates a whole new level of interaction, right? Like even in law, like when two lawyers negotiate with each other, it's a very different process, and the outcome is going to be way better than if the clients that they represent would negotiate. It would be a disaster.
Because the lawyers know each other.
Exactly.
They're coming in good faith, all of that kind of stuff, right? And that's how it is, right? You don't just want like, hey, do you have any deals? No, okay, bye, right? You want that connection.
Or the opposite as well, like agents always tell us how frustrating buyers can be. And I know that for myself as an investor as well. Like I've left my investment to people in our team to source them and close them, just because when it gets to your own investments, when it comes to your own journey, you're gonna be way more emotionally invested. So you're gonna ask some questions that are going to be totally irrelevant, and the agent then has to deal with your emotional state, and they don't really want to do that. All they want to do is get really good deals done and work with teams that will deliver good results. And basically, they just don't want headache, right? They just don't want headache.
Clean, easy transactions. Yeah, for sure. No, that's brilliant. I think that's a good insight. And that team operates really well. We get fantastic quality results for our clients. Our speed to close is really good as well. We get a lot of clients who've signed up with bigger buyers agents, and it's just taken way too long for them to buy a property. So then when they're buying their second property, they don't go back to that big, those, I don't even know if big is the right word, but those clients with those buyers agents that take a really long time, and then they come to us and they're like, Arshad, one of the things we want is we want speed. We want quick feedback. We don't want to be chucked on some rat. We signed the contract, we pay a deposit, and now
it's just some operationalized process. This is something that we agreed on right at the start as well, which is we want to make sure that our clients get access to the founders as well. So with every client that we have, we've got a WhatsApp group, we've got communication channels that they can immediately access us. And it's not just something like, we're passing you on to the next person, and it's a junior person and they're just gonna help you with X, Y, and Z. We're involved in every step, right? Not from a micromanaging way, but more from a holistic perspective. let's if you have got any questions, just call me, right?
Yeah,
I
100%.
love that approach.
Yeah.
Like that's something I'm really proud of for us.
Yeah, it's
for
like
us
that direct
implementing.
to founder model, right? At the
Exactly.
end of the day, we are managing literally people's lives,
Yeah.
right? Like, if we get it wrong, right, it can be tough. It can make a
Exactly.
very significant difference to individuals' lives. So our model is all of our clients. It's not like you sign up and then see you later, you never talk to us again. All of our clients have that space where they have ability to directly communicate with me and Nirvan. Now we do have a team that's there to support you along all the steps of the way, but we are there making sure it's all going smoothly, and we're there for that extra support to make sure it is a 10 out of 10 result, right? So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're not getting a tiny business where it's just you're just working with one person,
Yeah.
but you're not getting this like massive corporate entity
Yeah.
where you'll never actually see the business owners,
Exactly.
because business owners are extremely invested, right? Employees, they'll do a good job, but like if something, I remember once we were coming back from the hot springs, right? Different occasion,
many
right?
hot springs
Right?
outings.
Too many hot springs stories. We were coming back, and what was it, like 1:30,
Something like that, yeah.
1:30 a.m. And one of our clients in Dubai calls me, and he's like, super urgent pickup, right? Now I can guarantee you that
An employee
is not picking up technically that's Friday night to Saturday 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
right? They're not picking that up, right?
No chance.
They've probably switched off their work phone, right? But as a founder, I'm not going to ignore that, right?
Yeah.
On the drive, picked that up, sorted out the issue for them, got home, jumped on the laptop, made sure everything was sorted,
Yeah.
right? Done, dusted, right? It was a little bit of a complex situation, right? But that's what you get with a direct-to-founder business, right? You get that balance, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about your position at Pathway Property and how you help clients on the journey. So, give us a bit of an intro.
So I guess just my role, head of client success, right? What do I do? A few different things, right? One, in terms of the client journey, right? The main thing we work on, or the main teams I manage, is the strategy department and the area selection department, right? So when a client comes in, strategy is, I believe, the most important piece, right? It's like, what type of asset are you going to buy? What entities are you going to buy them under? So we sit down with all the relevant professionals, and we really curate a strategy that allows them to achieve their long-term goals, right? What are the goals you want to achieve? I want a house that I want to pay off my owner occ in 6 years. I want to buy a commercial property in 5 years. I want to aggressively accumulate and then sell down and move to Langkawi or Bali or whatever it is, right? So it's like, what are the goals? How are we going to achieve that? What are the strategies? Short term, long term, right?
Yeah.
What entity are we going to buy under? Are we going to buy an older house and renovate and build at the back? Are we
Yeah.
going to buy a newer house and go for more depreciation? Are we going to buy a rooming house? There's so many different, there's 1,001 different strategies, right?
I think that's like the key difference of a strategic advisor
Yeah.
versus somebody you just use as a a boutique, just as a tool for you to acquire an asset, right?
Yeah, again, it's kind of like, I feel like we're in that healthy middle, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go with someone really small, right, they're not going to know enough to give you all the strategies, right? So they'll probably know one or two strategies. If you go with someone really big, they're only going to want to do the strategies,
Strategies.
like template stuff that they can easily achieve.
Exactly.
They're like, okay, this is the strategy that all of our clients use.
Yeah.
Might not be the best for this particular
Yeah.
client, but who gives a crap,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? We're just going to do it. It's still good enough, even though it's not perfect for them, right? Whereas for us, it's like, I'm a big believer that we can bespoke, right?
Yeah.
Curate each individual strategy so that it makes sense for them,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, like strategy overall, entity, asset type, cash flow, all of that kind of stuff. Sit with the financial planner, sit with the accountant, sit with the broker, get that right. You get that right, that's the difference between a $5 million and a $20 million portfolio, right? That's number one. The number two, we manage the data team, right? So we've got an amazing team in there, run the numbers, selecting the right area does a lot of the heavy lifting, right? If you buy in the right suburb, you will make money, right? Like my personal philosophy is a 7 out of 10 property in a 10 out of 10 suburb is better than a 10 out of 10 property in a 7 out of 10 suburb. Making sure we're buying in the right locations, right? Our process around that, very in depth. I'm not going to jump into it now. If you're interested to learn more, we might actually do a video.
Yeah.
But I have we do have a video, but probably not like a external video. Something that if you're interested, you can reach out and we'll walk through our data process in depth. To give a quick summary, we have a 3-layered approach. Number one is we look at the demand and supply factors, right? We look at all of these different moving data points, hundreds of different data points, and not just the data point, but the direction, long-term, short-term of that particular data point. So if you're looking at something like stock on market, we're not just thinking about, okay, stock on market is high. What is the short-term trend? What is the long-term trend? What is the acceleration? What is the deceleration? And then we look at all of that in the context of how these data factors have impacted property price growth in the past. So demand factors, supply factors, we look at over hundreds of different data points. We do a monthly analysis, right, to ensure that we're sticking and buying in the right locations. So that's the first layer or form of data analysis, right, which I'm hoping majority of buyers agents do, but we don't stop there. Beyond that, we do what we call fundamental analysis. So these are your qualitative factors. So I believe the data analysis is really good at predicting the next 3 to 4 years of growth, right? If you don't do any other form of analysis, you just do that, you should buy a property that will that'll outperform the national average quite significantly in the next 3 to 4 years. But we want to ensure that we're buying in markets that have that long-term growth potential as well, right? This is where the fundamental analysis comes in. It's looking at things like the infrastructure, the economy, the diversification, the long-term political factors in that area. What are the projects coming on? All of these different factors, right? It's like what drives this area? What is the thesis behind this area, right? So if we look at a suburb like Morford Vale in Onkaparinga, right? What is the driving philosophy? What is the driving factor in terms of the growth, the thesis of that area's growth compared to, let's say, Gladstone Park in Melbourne, right? They will both be growing, like the demand and supply will be low in both of them, which will result in both of them growing, right? But what is causing the demand and supply to be, the demand to be high and the supply to be low are different factors, right? So that fundamental analysis, I think, is super important, right? Because you want to buy in areas that have good short-term growth if it makes sense for your portfolio, but you want to ensure that there's long-term demand beyond that short-term investor-driven growth so that your portfolio continues growing. And then the last form of analysis, which we're very uniquely placed to do, is on-the-ground analysis, right? So an area passes our data checklist, it passes our fundamental analysis, we're like, this area is good. We go to those areas, we meet the people in the areas, we discuss with the local property managers, local agents.
And this is the symbiotic relationship between my team and yours.
Exactly, right? So there's almost that transition phase, right? Like what are the good streets? What are the bad streets, right? Is there something we're missing that we don't like? The numbers look good, everything makes sense. But is there something that we just don't understand about this area? Right? Like, and property managers are really good when it comes to this, right? 100%. When we buy an area, we get a property manager to, highlight every street in a different color, right? Green being like, these are your juicy streets, pink being like, okay, these are okay, and so like, so that we can understand the value of those areas, right? Exactly. Not just looking at it from a computer perspective, but understanding it from a localized perspective.
Just because the data just tells you only so much, right?
It only tells you so much,
At the end of the day, it's just numbers. You need to interpret those, but you need to be able to understand the underlying factors, the underlying thesis that is involved in it before you should make a decision, right?
And I think that's pretty much what I do in terms of the team. Other than that, I just manage the broader growth team, like being out there looking good, making sure that we're actually getting clients, but that's not super relevant to the client journey. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that sums it up quite well.
Yeah. Now that people know a little bit about ourselves, you know what I mean? Like what foods we like. And actually, you didn't say what your favorite cuisine is. What's your, yeah, actually, do you know what I've been loving lately?
What?
I've been loving a little bit of that beef carpaccio, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like we had
You've been having a bit of a raw meat
I've
kind
been
of
we had beef tartare the other day, with the raw
feeling a
egg
bit
yolk,
zesty.
bit of beef tartare, bit of beef carpaccio, bit of sushi. I actually do love a bit of the raw meat, but
My favorite cuisine, honestly, it's a tough one. But I would say if there was one cuisine I could just eat for the rest of my life, it'll probably be like a Mediterranean cuisine. Probably,
get that. What do they call them? Blue zones. You know what I mean? Eat
yeah.
Mediterranean
You
cuisine.
know what? I think I
Live
was
to-
gonna say, look, my wife is Turkish, so there's some nice like Mediterranean Turkish food
Yeah.
towards like the coastal side. But I would probably say Lebanese.
Lebanese.
Yeah,
you
because
love-
I think they just got like a really good variety of food, right? They've got like legumes and
cuisine.
the vegetables, right? You know,
to
you've
kill
got the
everything.
nice
Yeah.
salads, you've got fish, meat.
Yeah.
I think they got a pretty good balance, don't they?
Yeah. Now I think I'd probably go for similar if it was a cuisine I was eating
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
But like one cuisine I just absolutely love is Uyghur cuisine. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like I don't think anyone does lamb skewers like them. It's
Yeah.
like so juicy.
It's that
Yeah.
it's those fatty pieces in between.
Yeah, so good, so good. But anyway, these days I'm on that bougie beef carpaccio, beef tartare vibe. I feel like some of the fellas watching this will be like,
They're
"What the hell-
salivating right
What
now.
the hell is this guy talking about, bro? Raw beef." Anyway, random tangent. Let's so people know a bit about us. They know a bit about Pathway Property. Hopefully, it's been a good introduction to us. We'd love to meet you guys. Whether you're interested in working with us, we can do an in-depth consult, or even if you just want to catch up and know a bit more about us, we're always out there networking.
Yeah, just like hit us up on LinkedIn. Even if you're not interested in signing up as a client, obviously
Yeah.
would love to assist you on that journey.
Mm.
But even if we're always happy to network with people,
Mm.
reach out on LinkedIn. Happy to have a conversation, grab a coffee, whatever it is.
The
like,
virtual coffee life.
that's it.
But yeah, let's maybe tie it off by, I guess, telling people. Let's jump, I guess, a bit more into the specifics of what we do.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are the type of people that? So it's like there's a bunch of people who've watched this video,
Yeah.
and now some of them are like, yeah, these guys are super cool. Some of them are like, okay, maybe not really my vibe, which is fair enough, right? Like, I feel like there was a point in my life where I wanted to be everybody for everything.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? Like now I'm kind of in that headspace where it's like
It's got to be comfortable
there's
in your skin.
there are people out there who are going to be watching this and they're going to be like, I love these guys, I have to work with them. And there are going to be people out there who are like, okay, not really my vibe.
It's fine.
And that's fine. I'd say if that's what you're taking away from this, don't work with us, right?
Yeah.
Find someone who you feel like you can connect with.
Exactly.
Like a buyer's agent is not a one-off transaction purchase.
Absolutely.
Right? You want that person, right, to, like, in all honesty, you want to invite them to your kid's birthday party. You want them to be like,
Ideally,
you
yeah.
want them to be part of like your circle,
Yeah.
right? Like you want
They're
them
on
to,
your team. So
They're on
and they're
your
going to
team,
be on
right?
your team on the long term.
Exactly, right? They're, like ideally involved in like 5-6 different
Yeah.
transactions. So you're paying them tens of thousands of dollars.
So you need to,
right?
sometimes the skill, expertise, the offering, all that is great, right? Like you see it, obviously we've demonstrated, we've shown a little bit about what we do and how successful the business has been so far.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like there needs to be a human element to
Exactly.
it as well. So
I think it's super important, you know what I mean? It's like they're in charge of such a big component of your life,
yeah.
right? You don't want them to just be good at their job. Obviously, that's super important.
Yeah.
But you want them to be like, this is someone I know
Yeah.
they have my best interest
Exactly.
at heart. And for all of our clients, I look at it like I want to think of this person as someone that I don't just care about from a business perspective, but I care about this person personally.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, we're not out here, selling Hydrolite or yogurt or some like random one-off
one-off
product.
transaction.
One-off product, they have it. If it's not great, it's not going to negatively affect their life.
lives, yeah.
Right? Whereas over here, like we need to get things right.
Of
right?
course, yeah.
And we want people to trust us, and we wanna do that for them. So, yeah. where was I going with
I
this?
think it's about,
Yeah.
like getting in touch with us and
Yeah. So it's the broader point I was making is like if you feel like you don't connect with us, that's perfectly fine. There are thousands of or maybe not thousands, like lots of really good buyers agents out there, right? There will be one that you will connect with, and you'll be like, this is my person.
Yeah.
This makes sense, right? So I feel like that's important. But yeah, let's talk maybe from your perspective.
Yeah.
A bunch of people have hopefully watched this, and they're like, I really like these guys. Who are the types of people that should reach out to us and be like, guys, I want to work with you?
Honestly, I think and this is obviously from our existing client base as well, but I think the key is basically time poor professionals,
Yeah.
people who know that their own time has more value than them going in and figuring out where to invest, how to invest. And even if they already know that, the time it takes for you to find the right assets, doing a due diligence, putting in offers, dealing with agents, dealing with vendors, dealing with service providers, people who value their time, those are our clients essentially, right?
100%.
Like,
and it's not just time, it's like getting things right. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? It's like the quality of result that a professional will get will never be as good as the quality of results you can get yourself.
yeah, we do this
It's
stuff
just-
day in, day out,
Yeah,
right?
it's just like whether it's negotiation or finding the right asset, whatever it is, a professional will get a better result. And I'm not just talking about what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to fix up something in your house. Yeah, you could do it yourself, and then you could fry yourself or like damage it and make it worse,
Exactly.
or you could get a professional.
Exactly.
Right?
So I think the key is, if you're a busy professional, if you're a business owner who's working to scale your business, you want to grow your career, you want to spend time and like the time that you have left, you want to spend time with your loved ones. And this is something I was mentioning initially as well, right? You want to spend time on the things that have highest ROI, return on investment, whether that is in monetary value, spiritual value, familial value, all that. Just know where you're investing your time in, because everyone is allocating time, right? Time and headspace. So for those who value their time, we take care of everything from A to Z. So
100%.
that's really the key.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like opportunity cost, right? It's like what you described is just opportunity cost. If you're not familiar with this term, whatever you take away from this video, jump on YouTube and just type opportunity cost and watch a video explaining what that means. Because once you truly understand what opportunity cost is, I think
It's life-changing.
It's life-changing, right? Because most people, they always just think about monetary costs. But when you understand opportunity cost, your ability to make decisions will just be so much better, right?
Whether that's with your family, whether that's in your career, money, health.
Cuisine. Whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Indeed.
It's like whenever we go to, I know you're not the biggest fan of hot pot, right?
Yeah.
But whenever we go to Happy Lamb, right? It's kind of like, do we get the spicy and really enjoy it, but know that, we're going to be destroyed tomorrow? Or do we get the non-spicy, right? And don't enjoy it as much, but you know that the next day you're going to feel good, right? So it's like there's that opportunity cost happening right there.
Exactly.
And everyone kind of goes through these decision-making processes, right? But if you can structure it a lot better, you'll feel better. To add to that, I think the type of people who should reach out to us is like, if you're serious about growing your wealth, right? Property is an elite tool for wealth growth in Australia. Elite, like unmatched.
By far,
Yeah.
the best tool in Australia.
Leverage, equity release, pretty much like the risk to reward ratio. The reward is probably not as high as some other asset classes, right? But those asset classes are very risky, right? The risk to reward ratio in property investing in Australia, I actually think is the best in the world.
It's unmatched.
Right? It is it's almost kind of stupid how how high like the reward and how low risk it is.
It is
amazing, right? So
Yeah.
it's like if you're
Whereas, for example, like let's say compare that to another thing, right? Like let's say starting a business, right?
Yeah.
The reward can be immense,
Yeah.
but the risk is also very high.
Very high, yeah.
Or stock investing, right?
Yeah.
The risk is quite low, although we are experiencing few moments where the risk has been a bit higher.
Yeah.
But the reward is also relatively low,
Yeah.
unless you sit there and you really invest a lot of time
Yeah.
to hack the market. And most of the time, most of the people I know who've tried to do that,
Yeah.
they've done okay. They
Yeah.
haven't done as well as property investing,
'Cause
which
it's
is
just
like a
leverage,
buy and
right?
hold.
Leverage, tax deductions, equity release to buy the next one. There's so many things that make it so much more favorable.
100%.
So yeah, if you're planning on if you want to take your wealth seriously, you want to pay off your debt on your own home sooner rather than later, build capital so that you can eventually buy something like a commercial property and have very serious passive income. Like when you tell people $100,000 passive income, they're like, oh, that's not possible. But it is very feasible in 10 to 15 years for a lot of individuals, right? For a lot of individuals, even more than 100K passive income, right? We have clients that are doctors who are on their pathway to 400K passive income, right? Taking action early and taking things seriously, building that team around you. And if you feel like you're someone like that and you feel like you'd be a good match for us, reach out. We can have a chat. We only work with a specific number of clients per period, right? So, we want to make sure that we match with you as well, right?
Exactly.
And then we can hopefully build a good, like that relationship, you know what I mean? So I really like being able to have at least one meal with each client, right? You know what I mean? It's probably probably
Too
one
many
meal too
meals.
many, right? Like maybe I should probably start a restaurant where they serve really healthy food and just take clients there.
We were talking
So
about an idea, weren't we?
it's stay pretty healthy, but we want to have those strong relationships with our clients, and we want to help them build their portfolios to achieve their goals. So if you feel like you're someone like that, honestly, just reach out. More than happy to have a no obligation chat and take things from there. Other than that, hopefully this is useful to know a little bit more about us. Drop us a like, a follow on the socials. We got lots of really great property content coming out, and a new secret podcast that Nirvan's going to be launching soon. But that announcement
Very,
will
very
come.
secret.
All right, thanks everyone. Bye.